Welcome to the County Manager's Report. I'm Lloyd Higuera. With me is Douglas County Manager Steve Mokrohiski. Welcome, Steve.
How are you, Lloyd?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be back and enjoying the tail end of summer here.
Yeah.
Is it technically summer still? Or
No, yes, I'm sorry. It technically is still summer, yes.
Okay.
It's not fall yet.
All right, so we'll enjoy it for a few more weeks.
Well, some of the leaves are falling, but...
I noticed that. It seems to be an early fall. That's what I've heard, that we're going to get an early fall this year.
But the temperatures are very warm.
They are.
Yeah, so,
and we hope for a lot of snow this winter. Let's get a heavy snowpack early.
Yeah, we need that. Have you been over the Carson River lately?
There's not much left.
No,
it's dried up, unfortunately, so we need to replenish the river.
Yeah. We're going to need a good winter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I sound like two old men talking about the weather.
The weather, anything? Yeah, right.
Yeah, if I had a rocker, I could rock back and forth. But let's get down to the business at hand. That is the September 6th meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. And it was kind of a short meeting, about an hour and a half or so.
We like this trend.
Yeah, this is trending very well.
Yeah.
And but kind of exciting news, commissioners did approve contracts for work on the north and south taxiways at Minden Tahoe Airport at a cost of just over $1 million.
Right.
Now, is that federal money, mostly FAA money?
Right. It's about 93.75, I believe, percent of that is federal funds from the Federal Aviation Administration. These are revenues that the FAA collects largely from fees charged to passengers. When you buy a commercial ticket on an airline, you're charged a number of fees, and the FAA charges fees to commercial passengers that then gets distributed out to airports around the country, both commercial airports and general aviation airports like we have at the Minden Tahoe Airport, for maintenance of those public transportation facilities. So we received, and we're really excited about this. It's the continuation of progress at our airport to continue to just maintain the infrastructure and grow the airport in the way that we want it to be, a general aviation, community-based airport that focuses on soaring and sport aviation. We're not looking to have a commercial airport. Here the community has said that that's not what the community wants, and we understand also there are market dynamics that limit us here. So the challenge has been, through all the work we've done in getting the prior ordinance changed and getting us back into compliance with the federal regulations, to receive this money, and then not only to get into compliance, but now we're competing with all of the other commercial and general aviation airports in the western region for limited funds. The FAA has limited funds. So we were told a little over a year ago, when we went to meet with the FAA and say, hey, we got the compliance issue fixed, we got our ordinance changed, let's get back into the funding pool. And they said, well, that's great, but we don't have a lot of money. And most of the money that the FAA has is going to be going towards commercial airports for a number of runway safety projects at commercial airports in the western region. So they told us, it's probably going to be a few years before you get anything. Well, fast forward to where we are, and we've received 3 separate grants this year in 2012 that total right around $1.3 million.
Great.
This is going to go towards rehabilitation of the existing taxiway alpha, we call it, the primary taxiway that's used by aircraft to get onto the primary runway. And it is deteriorating, and so it really needs to be repaired. It's not expansion of the runway, it's not strengthening the pavement capacity of the runway, it's simply rehabilitating the pavement so that it can function in the way that it needs to. And so 93.75% of the total cost is from federal funds, and then the local jurisdiction is required to commit 6.25, I believe it's 6.25% of the total cost.
But that's the beauty of it. The airport has that money.
That's right.
Yes.
It's not, so the airport, and this is really an interesting fact that I'm not sure all of our residents are aware of. Douglas County's Minden Tahoe Airport is the only general aviation airport in the state of Nevada that is self-sufficient, which means we're the only airport that does not require tax dollars, general tax dollars from property taxpayers or other taxpayers in the community to operate itself. The airport is operated 100% on fees and revenues generated at the airport, not by the general community. So it is financially self-sufficient. The only one in Nevada, and one of 3 commercial and general aviation airports in the state of Nevada. McCarran, which is the commercial airport in Vegas, and Reno Tahoe, which is the commercial airport in Reno, are the only other two, and they're both commercial. And most commercial airports are self-sufficient because they have airlines that, they have the ability
Sure.
to generate revenue. General aviation airports that don't have commercial traffic, it's more difficult to generate the revenue because you don't have as much of the activity as you do at commercial. So this is a long story to say that we're really excited about where we're at with the airport. We said all along that all we wanted was to get the airport back into compliance so that we could maintain the existing infrastructure in its in the state that it needs to be to have a functioning airport, and we don't want to expand it. And so that's what we're now receiving to do that. In addition to, we're doing a lot of other wonderful things. We have a soaring operation out at the airport. Soaring NV, Lori Harden and her operation are just doing wonderful things. They've moved into the facility that's right at Airport Road when you come up to the airport. So you'll see them, they'll have a prominent place there in the airport. We're redoing the entrance, we're doing some landscaping and signage improvements, and really excited about all the activities that are out at the Minden Tahoe Airport. So come on out, a lot of activities and different events that we're holding there, a lot of construction that you'll see. We have used some local labor and local contractors
Great.
for some of the work that's been done. For the taxiway project, we have a local Northern Nevada, not Douglas County, but they're out of Sparks group that's going to be doing that work. So just continue to look for more positive improvements at our airport.
Now, with the FAA making those grants, does this, look really good for the future, that we'll be able to get future grants?
I believe that it does, and it's, of course, dependent on available funding from the FAA. But one of the things that you want to do in working with these federal agencies is develop the relationships with the people in those agencies where there's a level of trust, that there's give and take, and they understand that you're using these dollars in a prudent fashion, that there's accountability, that our staff will work with their staff on issues related to the contractor's work and ensuring that the scope is taken care of, and any additional revenues that aren't needed will go back. So we've begun to build that trust and relationship with the FAA again, and I think that's why we're starting to see this $1.3 million that we received this year for this taxiway rehabilitation project. We received because other airports were not. It was actually money that went to other airports in the western region, and they weren't able to use it because they didn't have the matching dollars.
I see.
And they came to us because they knew we had work that we could do, and they knew that we had matching dollars, and they knew that we had a staff and community that was supportive of pursuing that. So I think that trust and that relationship is being built there, and I do anticipate additional funds in the future.
Well, that's great news. It's a win-win-win out there at the airport, isn't it?
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Yeah. Well, back to the September 6th meeting, commissioners did approve an agreement with Continuum Packing Solutions, providing a payment plan to purchase water rights and sewer capacity. The total amount projected is $290,000. Is this kind of thing done often?
I wouldn't say that it's done often, but you used the example with the airport issue of a win-win-win, and I think that's another one of these that we have here with this agreement with Continuum Packing. Continuum is a business that started in Douglas County around 2009. They've been here for about 3 years, is my understanding. They started with somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 jobs, as I understand it, and they now have begun to expand over the course of the past year. They manufacture juices and other products that get distributed to companies like Starbucks that sell these in their stores. And so they take the raw fruit and they create the juice through their process, and then what results from that, the creation of that juice, is a lot of waste from the byproduct of this juice.
Sure.
That they have to dispose of. As they grew in size and they added employees and they added production, there was additional need for capacity within our water and sewer system, and they're located out at the Meridian Business Park off of Airport Road. And so our North Valley Sewer Treatment Facility services their operation. And we worked with them on, we said, look, you have increased need for capacity, the type of materials that are being put into the sewer system, we need to really have a plan here for how we're addressing this. So we work cooperatively with this business and their representatives really over the course of the past year to develop an agreement whereby they could continue to expand and add jobs. They've added, their plan is, I should say they currently employ about 20 personnel, and they plan to add several more jobs as they expand in the community, which of course is something we want to see, but we also want to see that done in a responsible way. So they're working to implement a system to dispose of this material without having it go into the sewer system, and also to purchase the water and sewer capacity that they need from the county. What we're doing is trying to give them the reasonable time to pay off that. Nearly $300,000 is a significant cost, so we have a plan there for them to pay it off. And I think this is, as you say, a win-win, where the county is taking care of the issues it needs related to the costs for connecting to water and sewer services, and the business is given the opportunity to grow their business responsibly and add jobs and be a productive member of our community. So, we get a lot of these comments, not a lot, but occasionally. We get comments from folks who say Douglas County needs to be more business friendly. And here's an example of where I think we've worked really hard to work in partnership with this private company to help make them successful, but also address the issues that we have and our public expects that we make sure get taken care of. So this will continue to be our approach moving forward with businesses locally that relocate to Douglas County and that want to expand here. We want to work with our businesses to make sure that they're successful, that they follow the rules, and they want to follow the rules, and we want them to, and they take care of all those issues, but that they're able to survive and to thrive in our wonderful community here in Douglas County.
No, I think it's very business friendly, and I think word will spread, about Douglas County.
Yeah.
It's a good
This
place
is the
to
way
do
we do
business.
business. This is the way we do business. It's we don't give everything away, but we also don't say no when you come in the door. We're going to sit with you and say, what do you want to do? And let's find out the best way to accomplish your goals within the constraints that we may have. So what I keep, reiterating to folks, our staff, the folks with the leaders within our organization is, we're a solutions-focused organization. We don't come to the table and say no. We come to the table and say, if we can't do it your way, let's try and find another way that accomplishes the same goal. And so we're in the business to do that. I think government exists not to put hurdles in the way of residents and companies that want to do good work, but to understand there may be certain constraints we have to live by and we have to enforce, but we also want to make sure that we have an economically vibrant and wonderful quality of life for our community to thrive in.
Very good. Well, also, commissioners did hear a presentation from Jeff Hardcastle. He's the state demographer. He does an annual report to the commissioners. He was talking this time about population projections and U.S. Census trends here in Douglas County. And I hear you even have some pictures and things to show us.
Yeah, I thought that would be kind of fun to show some graphical representations of what was shared there. The state demographer deals with population numbers and trends in the local economy and other areas. There's a lot of really interesting information. While our population has declined in Douglas County over the past several years and over the past decade, and we continue to see some challenges within certain industries in Douglas County and in Nevada, we also see some positive indicators. So I wanted to share that here with folks who are watching. First of all, the Nevada economy statewide is in recovery. The state demographer talked about the states throughout the country that are in recovery, still in recession, or are in a growth pattern. North Dakota and Alaska, based on Moody's, which is a financial rating agency, their information, Alaska and North Dakota are the only two states that are actually in a growth cycle. The vast majority of the rest of the country, including Nevada, is in recovery. So we're continuing to grow there while we still have some challenges. The growth areas are in the areas of real estate, manufacturing, and retail. So we're continuing to see growth compared to, in 2011 compared to 2010 and 2007. The areas of decline are in construction, which obviously with the hit on the housing market in Nevada, northern Nevada in particular, we continue to see struggles in the construction area, as well as accommodation, food service, and gaming. And that's a trend in the gaming and food service accommodation area that goes back for 10 years. It's really more about the national economy with gaming, that there are opportunities for to participate in other gaming activities in other places around the country. We have an aging population in Douglas County, so that's something that I think we know, but the trends are showing that we have much more growth in the older populations than we do in the younger population. So that's something we need to keep in mind as we set policy in Douglas County and as we move forward and ensure that we have the services we need. And then, I thought there were some interesting things, and I'll just share these. So this goes back, and this shows the growth in the positive areas, and you see from 2000 to 2007 to 2010, 2011, this is real estate, rental and leasing. So you see the growth that we've seen, and this is 2011 data. This is manufacturing, and you see, again, you see 2000, 2007, 2010, and 11. So manufacturing, we're doing better. We've come back from where we were in 2000, 2007. And then retail, trade, retail areas, are positives. This shows the same time period for construction. And so you see sort of the decline here in construction, and then accommodation. Look at this. From 2000 to 2011 in accommodation, food service, and gaming. So those are, I think those are interesting trends. And the last thing I want to touch on here, I think this is really interesting. When we talk about high unemployment and the loss of jobs and how do we create jobs in our community and across the state and the country. In the manufacturing, and this is U.S., the green line here, if you can see this, is productivity. From 2000 to 2030, over a 30-year period, productivity. And the yellow is jobs in the manufacturing industry. So you see, and this is U.S., but the same is true in Douglas County and Nevada. What's happening is productivity is continuing to increase in manufacturing, and jobs are continuing and will continue to decrease. You see where they cross each other nationally is 2019. And so the trend on manufacturing is we are going to continue to see fewer and fewer overall jobs in manufacturing because of investments in technology, where we're becoming more productive with a smaller workforce. And so we need to keep that in mind when we talk about adding manufacturing. It certainly is possible to recruit businesses, bring jobs back from overseas, but when you talk about a net increase in the number of manufacturing jobs, we just won't manufacture enough goods to create the additional jobs necessarily that we're going to need, because productivity is increasing so much. And so that's where we look to other sectors, particularly in the areas of education, technology, healthcare, and other areas, particularly in the technology and innovation areas, that we need to look at workforce development and education for our residents. So a lot of information there from the state demographer, but I think it was interesting. I want to take a few minutes on it.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it shows the manufacturing just going up and up and up way beyond 2019.
Right.
And the jobs continue to go down.
Right.
Yeah,
because our productivity, and again, investments in technology have allowed for companies to not need the number of employees in manufacturing they needed before, because there are technological advancements that will do a lot of this work. So what we need to do as a local government and as a local community, statewide and nationally, is identify how do we adjust to that reality. It's a fact, it's a reality. And in some regards it's good. What we need to do is adjust the model and say, okay, what do we need to do to create good paying jobs, to create a workforce that is educated and trained to take on those jobs, so that we can create new jobs and bring more jobs back here.
Okay. Only one more item from the meeting of September 6th. That was commissioners approving a 2-year employment contract with District Fire Chief Todd Carlini. It is probably only interesting because it's something new, isn't it? That's the first time you've had a contract with him.
It is, yeah. And this is a 2-year, as you say, it's a 2-year agreement. There really was nothing new. There's no additional compensation for the fire chief.
Right.
There's no additional benefits, but now there is a contract. I have a contract with Douglas County in my role. I do think that it's a reasonable thing for the head of an organization, which the fire chief is, to have a contract. You serve at the pleasure of the board, and as the board changes. And I think, frankly, it's a good thing for the employee themselves, as well as for the organization and the community that they work for. It sort of protects the rights and interests of both of them, and it sets forward reasonable parameters. So look, the fact is, for me and for the fire chief, the board has the ability to terminate at any time for any reason. And there are other provisions that create safeguards and make sure that there's accountability in what we're doing. But it does really, it provides a legal enforcement mechanism I think, particularly for the organization and then employees. So I think this is a good thing. The board unanimously approved the fire chief's contract. And Chief Carlini has been doing this. He's been in the fire service for, I think, 40 or 30 years, I believe it is.
At least.
Been with Douglas County for over a decade. I believe it's now 15 years. He's been with Douglas County, and so he's well regarded in the community and in the fire service generally.
Well, that was the thing I was surprised about. It wasn't a 20-year contract.
Yeah, that I would say is not a good idea.
No,
a 2-year
not really.
contract is a good thing, and you review it every couple years.
Okay. Well, that pretty well covers the September 6th meeting. How about a preview of the meeting of September 20th coming up at Lake Tahoe?
Sure. This is a rather light agenda as of yet. We have not had the agenda setting for the meeting, so we're still developing what will be on there. But we do have an item to talk about the voting membership for the Western Nevada Development District Board. This is a group that regionally in the Western Nevada looks at federal and state grants that are available for economic development activities, and there are currently 8 counties in the region that participate in the Western Nevada Development District. Washoe County has expressed an interest. Washoe County, Reno, and Sparks have expressed an interest in joining that group. They're currently separate. So this will be a discussion among the board to talk about bringing Washoe County, Reno, and Sparks into that. We'll also have potentially a discussion on a NACO Western regional conference that could be held in Lake Tahoe in 2014 or 15. So that would be potentially a good thing for the area. So a couple items there. We'll see what else develops for the meeting, and hopefully we keep the trend of our business, being done in a timely fashion.
Yes, a good trend. Commissioners did hold another strategic planning session recently. They have held quite a few of these throughout the year. And what's the latest on the strategic planning?
This is something that I think we do really well in Douglas County. We've developed a strategic plan. We have a mission, a vision, guiding principles, organizational values, and we have strategic priorities of financial stability, public safety, economic vitality, infrastructure, natural environment, resources, cultural heritage, and manage growth and change. So those are the top 6 overarching priorities we've developed. And then we have 30 adopted goals, strategic goals that the board has identified over the course of the next 3 to 5 years that we will implement. It's a working plan. And people say, oh, you develop a strategic plan, it sits on the shelf. This is on my desk. We have it posted in the boardroom and in our offices, and we refer to it regularly. We have quarterly strategic planning sessions with the board where we review all of these projects. We update them. We remove projects that have been completed or outdated. We add new projects as they come on. And then we identify the really high priority projects for the board. So this is, and the additional step we're now taking is we are implementing our priority-based budgeting system, a new way to look at our budget, our budgeting process each year. We've used the strategic priorities developed by our board through a public process, and we've incorporated that into this priority-based budgeting model. And so decisions related to the budget really are going to reflect what we've already established as the organization and the community's strategic priorities. So we've got 30 goals, and I'll list a couple of them off. Developing strategies for long-term financial stability, more cost-effective services for our residents through regional partnerships, priority-based budgeting, implementing energy and technology improvements, looking at hazard mitigation plan or economic vitality plan, stormwater mitigation, Lake Tahoe investments, road maintenance, North County water line, community center, all of these things. So you start to see a lot of these things are things we talk about regularly, and they're on our strategic plan, and this is where we spend a lot of our time. So all this is available on our website, as we talk about, douglascountynv.gov, and on the homepage you can, you can find all this information in addition to the video here, and our newsletters and all of our updates. So anyone who's interested in our strategic plan, go onto our website and check it out.
Okay, we've only got about 4 minutes left, so maybe you give a quick update on the website and the fact this program is available on demand.
Sure. We've worked, Lloyd, and thanks in large part to you for all the efforts you've gone through and trial and error and learning about YouTube and how do we get these videos online and participate in more interactive, accessible social media outlets. And this has been a priority for me and for the board to identify those areas. So you've done a great job getting these videos. These 30-minute videos are now available on YouTube, and we've linked them to our website, so you can go again to douglascountynv.gov, and on the left-hand side of the screen there's a link that says County Profile, News, and Videos. Click on that and it'll take you to a page with this video, and all you'd have to do is click the play button and it'll play this video right in there, and you can access all the other information about our profile and our newsletters and news releases and a lot of really great information. So again, this is our continued effort to try and provide more accessible, open information to the public, and has been a response to feedback that we've gotten from residents to wanting to see these kind of things. We will probably look at opportunities to take clips of board meetings and post those online for items of really significant community importance and value, so people have access to those, and we'll continue to build on this. We have a media kit we've developed with different information about our community. We do monthly newsletters, the news you can use. We do news releases and all kinds of great information. So I really encourage people to go onto our website and take a look. And you can also do business on our website. You can file code enforcement complaints. You can apply for a job. You can pay your taxes. You can do any number of things online, which is what we're trying to do more and more of, so people don't have to come down to our offices to get those things. So, and certainly any suggestions people have or requests for how we can continue to provide services online and make things more accessible to the public, we're open to that.
Okay, we're kind of winding down, and did want to get in the fact that the county is going to meet with FEMA on the flood maps.
Yep.
Could you give us a quick statement about that?
We meet, and this is, our staff is meeting on September 12th with FEMA representatives. This will be our first opportunity to meet with FEMA since we found out that we won the appeal from the Scientific Resolution Panel. And I just want to be clear again what we've said. The county's position is we're going to advocate for FEMA to reimburse all of our residents for 100% of the cost of anyone who had to pick up flood insurance that was not previously in the flood zone within the last 2 years, that FEMA reimburse our residents for that cost, that FEMA reimburse Douglas County for the over $600,000 in taxpayer dollars we've invested in remapping certain areas, and that FEMA pay for the future areas that still have to be remapped. Those are our flat out, that's what we will say at the beginning of the meeting. We can have a respectful discussion, but those are our expectations. We don't know what we'll get out of that, but we will report as soon as we can, as soon as we have some resolution for our residents on that. And I'm very hopeful, and I just want our residents to know that we are very firm in our positions on those issues, and we will advocate aggressively with FEMA on behalf of our residents.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay, that's going to wrap up this edition of the County
Lloyd.
Manager's Report. County Manager Steve Mokrohiski, I'm Lloyd Higuera, and we'll see you next time on the County Manager's Report.